Hello there everybody, so HeroicLegend here. This is more of a channel update video than anything. I just wanted to let everyone know what happened exactly, because this is perhaps the longest I've been absent. At this point in time, I don't have the widest following, and this is mostly a time capsule for myself, but, I gotta go, sorry, I ran the mic. On May 6th, technically May 5th, I had gone to sleep and woke up about... I actually went to sleep early that night. I woke up in the early hours of the morning with some stomach pain like you wouldn't believe. And having had this happen once before, I figured I'd be alright after a bit and it went away, but it turns out that was not the case. I spent a majority of that morning going from my room to the bathroom, my room to the kitchen to try and get something to drink or eat, only for me not to be able to keep that down and be right back in the bathroom. I was trying to wander around a lot, trying to ignore and forget the pain. I was curling up a lot, I was trying to lay back. Like, I just could not find comfort in any way, shape, or form. And it wasn't an extreme pain, like as if I felt like I was being stabbed. It was more like kind of being punched, or being like having someone jab like 2 fingers into my stomach and then just not pulling their fingers out. If I had to rate the pain at the time, it felt like a 6, but a 6 that did not go away. So eventually I sought some form of help from my younger sister, since I couldn't even keep down medicine that I thought was supposed to help. The medicine worked very briefly. I think it was mostly desperation for something to work that I may have tricked myself, but it didn't work for long, and I eventually went to inform my father of what had happened, and after a bit I sought medical help. The reason why it took so long, though, was because it was in very early hours of the morning. And I mentioned this part because this is very big. I had actually gone to, not the emergency room, but to urgent care. And the city MD that we went to, I still had to wait outside despite us going as early as we possibly could. And I just still remember leaning against the glass, just... I wanted to hang on to my dad, but I couldn't, because I was longing for some form of comfort or pain relief, and I was not getting it. I didn't actually think at the time to try and take ibuprofen, Tylenol, any type of pain medication, which we had available to us, because it was not in my head. Sure enough, I get there, and once I'm finally seen, which felt like years, I'm informed that they can't help me, and I should actually I should have gone to the emergency room in the first place. That on top of, I did a vid call with I did a phone call with my doctor, or with a doctor, not necessarily mine, to get some suggestions on what I should do. And they basically told me the same thing: go to emergency room, go to urgent care. But I wanted urgent care because I had this very bad connotation about the emergency room, hearing often from others that it takes a long time for you to get in there, and if this helps anyone overcome that, I am perhaps a very big nervous wreck when it comes to medical stuff. The last thing I want to do is go to a doctor and then hear the list of what's wrong with me, because I worry too much, and that's probably that probably hurts my health more than actually worrying about what's wrong with me. A lot of times too, I can chalk up what's wrong with me to natural things, but I'm getting off topic. I go to the ER, I'm seen right away, and a belief is that because I was struggling with this for so long, my heart rate had gone to a point where they were like, you're higher than normal, so we should see you faster than normal. And that thankfully got me seen in time for them to discover that something is indeed wrong with me. I didn't know at the time that this was the case, but I had gallstones. You didn't mishear me. I said gallstones, plural. It was very unpleasant, to say the least. Wait, did I already build this thing? Yeah, I have a phone already. So I can make more. I'm sorry I'm leaving it on this too, it's just I wanted something in the background. I think this is just gonna be kind of the... I'm not even gonna be really playing the game, but it's just something to keep in the background, because... I'd want something to be there, just look at the little hand. Ooh. But I go to the emergency room, and after they scan me, the doctor in the room tells me that I have the biggest gallstone that she has ever seen. What's more so, they actually did discover that my gallbladder was infected. So I had kind of two choices in front of me. I could have waited it out and come back at a later date for a scheduled surgery. Or, because this was, I believe it's called an outgoing procedure, I could get the surgery then and there. Now, if my gallbladder's infection looked much worse, or like it was going, or like the stones themselves were going to, like, I guess, drip out or leak out, there were going to be some fragments, that was possibly the worry during the procedure, but the point was, if the infection looked like it was going to be spreading or worse, I was going to have to get that out right away. I'm thankful that was not the case and I got to choose, but because of just how much pain I was in, I decided at that moment in time, get me into surgery. And this is a big deal because I had never actually had surgery in my conscious adult life. Apparently when I was a baby, I needed to go to the doctors again. It wasn't anything super serious, but just know that that was the only real surgery type thing I had. The closest thing I can relate it to from memory is when I was around 8 or so and a bank fell on the back of my head and left a dent. I'm obviously okay. You would not be hearing me record if that had left some lasting impact. Although I do think I was smarter before... Jokes aside. I'm scared as all hell because this is my first surgery, and I recall holding my father's hand a lot that day because he stayed with me throughout as far as he could, thankfully. Sure enough, when it's time, I'm wheeled into the surgical room, and the really cool thing is, apparently I had a combined size of 9mm gallstones in me. There are two separate zones, one 5, one 4, and I actually did allow them to record the process for future medical students. They put me under, and those are some amazing sedatives they put you under, because I remember like breathing in and looking at the team of doctors around me who were looking at the team of surgeons, and just like, huh, this room, and the last conscious thought I had was, that's funny, this room looks exactly like what I'd see in the cartoons and shows, and then lights out. And then I wake up later, and I was basically recovering. My one victory from that day, by the way, aside from having all this done without the need to wait, was I got to keep my underwear. I got to keep them on. That was my pride and joy. I fought hard for that. They were like, you really should. And I know some people may be like, you really should. But I just self-conscious, and, you know, it's little things for comfort. Sure enough, as I wake up and I'm starting to, like, notice the world again, I feel tremendous amount of sore and, like, some mild discomfort in my midsection. It turns out they had 5 cuts. So that was fun, but on the plus side, I didn't need stitches. They just used surgical glue, and I believe a type of stitching or something. I'm not entirely sure, but I much prefer that because I just have very poor mental image of stitches. However, after that, I clearly was not going to record because, for anyone who's unaware, I keep my recording equipment very close to me, and actually it's very slightly pressing into my belly button right now. I keep my microphone on a lap desk, and the lap desk also houses my mouse, so I can do stuff like this, so I can record from here. I sometimes do reach over for the keyboard, but I do try to do things that don't require keyboard, so you can still see the happy, fun time recording without, you know, feeling several things bump into the microphone. Throughout the recovery time was very difficult. In the very early stages of it, I really couldn't do much. I couldn't eat a lot either, because it was just straight to the bathroom for me if something disagreed with me heavily, so there was that. The most I can note from that was a lot of things were just hard to do, because I never actually realized how much my core area, which is where, you know, the cuts were, was needed to do just a lot of things I do in life. They also advised me against very heavy lifting, so I was very, very fragile. I remember being very upset too. I'm like, just 2 days ago we celebrated Mini Legend's birthday, and now I just came out of surgery and was... But on top of that, I was dealing with a lot of personal stuff, so I can't even say if the surgery had gone so amazingly well that there were barely any problems, and I super recovered fast because, you know, it's my family bloodline straight. I'm not joking, we are a family of fast... We have some very fast recovery in this family. Or we're just stubborn, it's one or the other. But it was about, they said, maybe 4 weeks worth of recovery. Around the second week I felt like I might have been able to do stuff, but I just decided I should play it safe and take off the third week as well. I didn't want to chance it, I didn't want to risk it, especially in case, like, there was some other weird pain or whatever, just whatever nonsense could go on. But even then, I probably would have taken some time off due to the passing of, I believe, the last name was Kentaro Mura, who is the author of Berserk. And for anyone who's unaware, I do pride myself as a writer, and although the most that I really do is role-playing with particularly just one person in particular, this is a very not scripted, just off the beat thing, so forgive me for being very scattered and not articulating myself as well as I would, but a lot of my writing and my desire and my storytelling I owe to the author of Berserk, because he was a big influence. And I remember reading Berserk for the first time, sadly because of Death Battle, because I was watching Guts versus Nightmare, and I was I didn't super play Soul Calibur, but I was a fan of the character. The character looked very cool to me, and his fighting style was very neat, and I was like, I don't know why he lost. And as I heard the explanation, I started scrolling through the comments, and I found Berserk, and from there, I've read the story up until it's needed updating at least 5 times now. And I was actually very excited to see different updates, and I took the loss actually very hard, because on top of the story possibly not getting the closure that I think that I would prefer, or that something that I could see, his writing just changed a lot in my head of what's good writing, what's good character design, and he taught me a lot through his writing. And his loss, I took very personally, and recovering from that was also rough, especially with my stomach issues and just the way that the world is kind of going at the time. It was a very big weight on me, and I could not handle physical recovery and mental recovery all at the same time and still provide you with content that I would have felt was fun. My only positive from all this, aside from, you know, no more infected gallbladder and no more gallstones, is I have discovered a few new games I could play for the channel. Namely, I've reignited a love for Town of Salem, which I would love to play for the channel, but have the crippling worry of someone being a tosspot and making that recording moot because they want to be an edgy person. And I don't believe... If there's a streamer mode, then I would love to activate that and just... it auto, like, stops anything even remotely offensive looking, but... But there's also Dead by Daylight, which for the longest time I've been looking at as a game that I could have wanted to play, but never could really get into due to the fact that I am a massive coward. And I'm not a massive coward, but I am the most easily startled person you could probably find. So, but I've been having fun with it. I got the new killer. I discovered I'm a killer main because I tried being a survivor, and it is nowhere near as fun as being a killer. Although some survivors really make it hard for you to enjoy being a killer. I'm not gonna lie. But I have fun with it, and you may see that on the channel. You will definitely probably be seeing some Final Fantasy XIV because there's been a new love ignited for that, and that fan fest, and just those classes. Oh my god. I've also been having a lot of fun doing it at my pace in my own way, so there's that too. As for the next Let's Play, since we did finish Disgaea 5, thank goodness, before all this happened. And what do I mean by this? I had also gotten my second dose vaccine, so I am fully vaxxed. On top of all this, it was another positive. But I have a few ideas. I kind of want it to be something recent, or at least more recent. So the idea is maybe the Monster Hunter Stories game, if I can get it. I'm not looking for something extremely long, or something that I have to worry about. I have to worry about blocking stuff out, but I have some things in mind, and I do hope that you'll enjoy them. That's pretty much it for this. I'm going to just kind of end this little update here. Long story short, TLDR, or I guess too long didn't listen. TLDL? Yeah, TLDL. I had surgery. I was mourning the passing of a famous author, and things have been rough, but I'm finally feeling up. I'm finally feeling well enough to do some stuff and to get recording. I don't know how intense it's going to be, but I hope you look forward to what I just out here for you, and I hope you enjoy it. Until next week, I just want to say, laters. Sorry, there was no actual gameplay here. Nice little music.